I know that was the pledge. It should have been the prayer. It was great. Thank you. Recognition of outstanding citizens by the Township Board and Trustee. Doug?
I'm sorry?
Recognition.
No. Michael Klitzing, Director of the Parks Board, would like to make a presentation to the board
Oh, it said by the Township Board, so,
from Michael Klitzing.
yeah.
Good evening. Michael Klitzing, Director of Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation. Two components that I want to do for the Township Board tonight. First and foremost, I want to do a presentation of the National Gold Medal Award for Excellence in Parks and Recreation. Joining me tonight will be Leon Younger, who is a member of the Academy, which is the organization that administers this award program. One thing that's important to recognize is the National Gold Medal Award is the highest honor that a municipal or state or actual military base park and recreation system can receive. It is the highest honor. It is basically if you're selected as a finalist, and each year there's a program where admissions are submitted, and a judge of panels reviews all the applications, and they select 4 finalists in each of the population classes or categories. And we're, for Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation, we're in Category 3, which is for communities of a population of 75,001 to 150,000. And we were selected as one of the 4 finalists for this prestigious award. And I like to say that becoming a finalist is very similar to making it to the NCAA Final Four. And just to make it to the Final Four means that you're one of the best programs in the country by all means. But to be selected as the gold medal recipient, the Grand Plaque winner, is like winning the Super Bowl, the NCAA championship. It's really a high honor and very difficult to accomplish. And just to talk about the magnitude, every park system in the United States, as well as all of our military bases, are eligible for the gold medal. To put numbers behind that, there are 19,145 cities around the United States, cities, towns, villages, similar municipalities, 3,141 counties, parishes, or similar units of government. There are 50 states, of course. There are 14 U.S. territories. There are approximately 800 U.S. military bases around the world. In total, almost every single one of those has a park system. So in total, there's over 23,000 park systems that are eligible for the Gold Medal Award. And we were selected as the winner in Class 3. Less than 1% of all agencies in the history of the Gold Medal program, which was initiated in 1965, have ever won this award. Less than 2% of all agencies around the United States, 56 total, have won the Gold Medal Award at least 2 times, and we're one of those agencies to win it twice. We also won the award this time in our first year of gaining re-eligibility. There's a 6-year wait-out period before you're eligible to be considered for the gold medal again, and we won it in our first year. So there's only 11 agencies in the history of the gold medal program that have ever done that. So puts us in unique company, and I have to say that it would not be possible without the Clay Township Board. Obviously, our name is Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation. Clay Township has been integral since the history and inception of the park system on August 20th, 1991, to be the park system we are today. The township has always provided important financial support for the park system, as it's doing with the Clay Township Impact Program, and it's very much because of the township that we were able, and the support that we received from you, that we were able to achieve this high honor. So I would like to invite Leon to come forward and, on behalf of the Academy, present the gold medal plaque to the Township Board and to Trustee Callahan.
Just want to say on behalf of the Academy that Carmel Clay receiving this award is, as Michael has outlined, is a tremendous honor and deserving. The Carmel Clay has been a leader in the state, but also in the nation for a number of years, and people look up to the park system and looks up to you and all the elected officials who basically help support them. And as far as from my own personal perspective, we've had the chance to work with you on the last 2 master plans, and many of you I've talked on the phone before. Nice to meet you in person. But I just want to say that this is a great honor for you and the team and the staff and the board, the Park and Recreation Commission board, as well as the city. And so I'd like to give this to Mary, if that's okay.
Should be Suite A, just for information. Or Suite B. Now, the thing we're gonna be releasing is Suite A. Okay.
I'll fix that.
You gotta hang this up proudly. Somewhere.
And I like to say it's not real until you hold it and touched it. So each of the board members and Doug, you all need to be able to touch it and hold it. So
We've got it actually in our
Way to go, Doug, drop it.
We've been on top, we're coming back side by side, because that one comes down and this one go up.
yeah, we have both of ours up. So what?
Hey, you're welcome.
Oh yes.
Thank you very much. Take a picture with Michael and-
We should get all the.
Oh, well, I'll come over here.
Does it look good? Okay, hold on, where's? I'm taking my mask off. Just don't breathe.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I have a short presentation.
Yes, I see that. On behalf of the board, we'd like to thank you for allowing us to be able to have that to place in our lobby. We're so proud of the park department, proud of your leadership, proud of the board, and we are thrilled to look at the things that we can do in the future to come. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Mary. I also figured I would take this opportunity to provide the Township Board an update on all the Clay Township Impact Program projects that are impacting Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation. In total, when you factor the projects that you're directly funding, as well as several of the projects that are maybe not managed through the park system, but will ultimately be benefiting the park system, you're contributing approximately $30 million to upgrades to Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation. So we're very grateful for that investment in Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation. First and foremost, and unfortunately this is supposed to be a drone video so that you can actually see all components of Cary Grove, but I'm having technical difficulties, so it's not playing. But it still provides a great overview of Cary Grove Park, which is the first of the Clay Township Impact projects to open within the park system. And this park, I don't know if you've had a chance, it's on Cary Road, just west of Keystone, a little bit south of 146th Street. It's a 5-acre park, and it had one of our oldest playgrounds within the park system in it. A park that was well used, but everything in it was at end of life. Most infrastructure within park systems has a 15 to 20 year lifespan, and we were right within that time frame for the playground equipment and a lot of the major amenities within it. So we've completely reimagined this park, and it is a huge hit. I mean, there are very few days that you can go by this park and find a parking spot in the parking lot. And that brings a little bit of satisfaction, because I had several people talk about I made the parking lot too large well, it could have been a lot larger. And it's just absolutely thrilling to see the families go out there, especially with the crazy times we're in right now, be able to be outside and enjoy this playground. So definitely a huge hit, and we'll be working with you shortly to rededicate this park for the community. But know that your dollars are already making a huge impact on the park system. One of the other projects that has been completed is the Roundabout Projects in front of the West Building at the Monon Community Center. There were actually two different projects there. The one along 111th Street was part of the Clay Township Impact Program. The one inside the park, so the one that's to your left as you're looking at the photo, within Central Park was one that was funded through Park Board proceeds, but the local income tax dollars that we receive from the township. So while one of them was a CTIP project, both of them were funded with dollars that came from the township. So that project was completed at the end of last year and has greatly enhanced the ability for people to get in and out of the west side of Central Park. Very appreciative of that, and we can't wait to get the other roundabouts on 111th Street open, because it just will improve the vehicular access to Central Park. A project that is almost done, finally, is Flowing Well Park. It was our first park to close, and it's taken a little bit longer than we would have liked to get this park reopened. The big challenge with this one, and the major component of this project, was bank stabilization of Cool Creek. There are a number of bends, as illustrated on this graphic here, that basically with the rushing water, especially when we have high water, it's causing a lot of erosion of the banks in those bends. And we needed to make sure that we stabilized those to make sure, especially the one that's right next to 116th Street. We didn't want the creek in the middle of 116th Street. One of the bends that's up along our northern boundary, we're getting very close to the property line, and again, we wanted to make sure we kept the creek within the park. So that was a major component of it, and getting the permitting through Indiana Department of Environmental Management, through DNR, and through the Army Corps of Engineers, especially through COVID. It just took a lot more time than what anyone anticipated. But we are almost done. Here's one of the banks that was stabilized. Actually, this is the one next to 116th Street. And we wanted to make sure that we did a very natural stabilization, as much as you can, to protect the creek. So we used larger sandstone boulders in there. It's going to provide some great opportunities for people to climb on the rocks, to actually stand on them, fish on them. It's going to be an amenity in and of itself, in addition to ensuring that we're protecting the creek bed. We also are doing a lot of interpretive signage. There's a number of interpretive signs. This one happens to talk about the stream bank restoration, but talking about the great nature that is within this park. This is really one of our nature preserves, and there's an incredible story to tell about the different types of trees that grow in this park, how erosion works, how the well itself works as an artesian well. So that story is going to be told better than it ever has been within this park, thanks to this project. One of the things we also did is go to great measures to protect as much as the nature within the park. So we had to do some pathways, temporary roadways, to be able to do the work, but the vast majority of the wildflowers and nature that is within this park was preserved. As this photo was taken 2 days ago, and the bluebells, the Virginia bluebells in this park, is one of the best displays anywhere in Carmel and within this area of Indiana. One of the things we're excited about this project is we're also adding for the first time ever restrooms to Flowing Well. Many people just go to the park to get the water, of course, at the well, but there are a lot of folks that like to use the trails, to bring their kids to do creek stomping and play in the creek. And, we want to make sure that we encourage people to stay at the park more than just 15, 20 minutes. And one of the things, especially being in a residential area, is we wanted to make sure we provided the resources that are necessary for people to stay, and that's the restrooms. So that, it's actually roofed here, but they were doing painting the day I was taking the photos. So the new metal roof was covered to ensure that we didn't do any overspray on the roof. We expanded and repaved the parking lot, so there are a lot of times that parking lot was already full, so we're making sure that we accommodate the public demand we have for this. And we did some minor upgrades to the actual well house, sprucing it up with a new coat of paint. But you'll notice the scissor gate that's there. A few times, usually every year after flooding, what will happen is the well will get contaminated. It's a drinking source, so we have to do testing. And there's periodic times that, especially after we have a flood event, that bacteria gets on the spigots in the well house. So we'll have to do a cleaning, temporarily close it down. And we used to always have to put the ugly orange fencing around it. Now we have a mechanism that's a little bit more caramelified, if you will, that when we close it, it's a little bit more attractive. Next project, which has already started, is Meadowlark Park. This park is located just a little bit off of Main Street. It's really a hidden gem just down the road from the Art and Design District. But we're really basically blowing up the main part of this park and reimagining it as well. Right now, or originally, the playground was in the easternmost section of the park. What here is being showed as naturalized areas and boardwalks and trails. That loop trail already exists today, but the boardwalks we're adding. The playground used to always get really soggy. The shelter that's in this park originally also used to always have water standing on the concrete. I used to joke that the only part of the park that was lower than where the playground and shelter was the pond that's to the right of this illustration. Well, our engineer corrected me and said actually the elevations of the pond are at a higher level than where the shelter and playground is. So we moved it out of the low area, moved it into the slightly higher ground, and are creating a completely new playground. It'll have a new improved full basketball court outside and the community's first pickleball courts, which will be hugely popular with the community. So here's an illustration of what the new playground is going to look like. Our original goal was to start this construction project actually last year, but we decided to wait for this playground. The playground manufacturer had come out with a new design, but we were a little not exactly thrilled with it because it looked a little bit too similar to what was at or what we already constructed in Inlo Park. And we want to make sure each of our parks has a completely different playground experience when we have playgrounds. So we worked with them and kind of came up using their new structure, but in a completely different way. To me, if you use your imagination, that center structure looks like a very artistic rendition of trees. And it has slides and other things on it, but we're not too far from the Art and Design District, so we did a little bit of artistic flair. The lower play structures are the underbrush and lower bushes that you see in a forest. So that's kind of what we're replicating here. Here's a different version of it. The slides and an incredible play experience that will be, I bet, every bit as popular as the new Cary Grove Park. And then, like I said, pickleball courts, a boardwalk going through a wet prairie, as well as a new fishing pier that will all be ADA accessible. Moving on, the West Park, construction started in this park last year. We're really looking at focusing on the original portion of the park. Again, where the playground was, the shelter, the parking lot area, that was developed a little bit before I came on board about 17 years ago. So again, very much in that end of lifespan for the playground and for the splash pad that was located in this park. So we're creating a new playground, new splash pad, adding a little bit more parking. Again, another one of those parks that's hugely popular and some days is incredibly hard to find a parking space in. And also recognizing that we recently built the Jill Perlman Pavilion a little bit to the west here within West Park. We're creating a connecting drive so that the two elements of the park are truly interconnected with both roadways and trails. So that's what's the focus of this project. If you think of Jill's Hill, the sledding hill, as the mountain, the new playground is being rotated a little bit closer to where Gills Hill is, and it becomes the foothills of the mountain. And the splash pad becomes the canyon that you have with the water running off the mountain. That's kind of what we're trying to recreate. The existing splash pad feels like a sort of a creek, but it doesn't meet current safety standards. So the new one is not quite as literally a creek, but it feels like the waterfalls and the spray features and even a bridge that goes over it so that you have that canyon experience with the creek going through it. So it's going to be a splash pad like anywhere else, not only in Indiana, but around the country. And then the key feature will also be up on a hill and has a very whimsical element to it. In designing this park and this playground, we actually went to Collegewood Elementary School and West Clay Elementary School, talked to the kiddos in the before and after school program, and they really helped us design this park. So all of the play elements within this park are inspired by the kids of the community. So it's going to be another one of those really special playgrounds. Currently, the front portion of West Park, the area that's highlighted in red, is closed to the public. People can park in front of the Jill Perlman Pavilion, and there is a connecting trail so people can use the Northern Trail system in there. And during the winter months, the little snow we had, people were able to gain access to Jill's Hill. So this project will be completed by the end of the year. I've neglected to say we also project Meadowlark being completed by the end of the year, if all goes as planned. The next project is Lawrence W. Inlo Park. A few years ago, we reopened the playground, completely reimagined those playgrounds. So the next phase that you're helping us fund is the splash pad, 2 pickleball courts, new shelters, and a restroom facility that actually can be open year-round. The current one is a seasonal restroom, and we looked at converting it so that we could heat it, but it was really cost prohibitive to do so, and it was already too small for the playground. So this one's going to be a little bit larger and better serve it. Again, another playground, the equipment was about 20 years old, so needing to be replaced. And we sort of shifted things a little bit, but wanted to make sure it interplayed very nicely with the existing playground and the 3 different playgrounds we have out there. Like I said, the splash pad is the major focus of this project. 2 of the key elements of the splash pad that are going to be, I think, hugely popular. In the smaller kid area for the 2 to 5-year-olds, we're putting in a water slide. And what's cool about that is on the backside, it actually has a waterfall. So the kids can kind of get underneath the waterfall. It also is wheelchair friendly, so wheelchairs can also get under it. So keeping that in mind. So that should be popular for the smaller kids. And then in the larger area, sort of a newer spin on the big dump water feature we have out there that will be cascading waters out of this big jug, if you will. And here's a rendition actually in the colors that it's going to look like. We're keeping the red and black theme that this park has always had. So this is a representation of what the new splash pad will look like. Way more features than what we have today. So again, should be hugely popular. And then River Heritage Park. This park is located along River Road and just a little bit north of 116th Street. It's actually one of my favorite parks in the park system because right now only a small portion of the park is developed. It's 40 acres, but only the front, about 10 to 15 acres is currently developed. This is property that we leased from Citizens Utility Group, which created some challenges for us as we were looking at reimagining this park, because we learned in the process of developing our designs that they're going to be expanding the water plant that's located immediately north of the park and putting a new 2-acre underground water reservoir in the area that I've circled, which is going to significantly impact the park. We were originally planning on completely, again, another playground similar to the other structures that we've done to replace the aging one there. But we wanted to be wise, recognizing that really this northern half of the park could be impacted by their improvements, which are 3 to 7 years down the road. And they haven't developed the plans yet. So we didn't want to invest a lot of money in these areas that could be impacted by Citizens Project, knowing that it could go away in 3 to 7 years. But even if all of that area goes away, we still have about 19 to 20 acres of the park. And to put it in perspective, that's about the same size as Flowing Well Park. So it's still a very significant park. And the history of this park is that it had the community's first accessible playground, wheelchair accessible playground in it. And we wanted to be true to that mission. So as we looked at the trail system for this park, which there's the ability to have about 2 acres of trails within this park, that's sort of highlighted here. All of the trails are going to be 100% wheelchair accessible, which also means that they're 100% stroller accessible. And the topography out here, there's not a lot of hills in this area, so it made it very relatively flat. There's a few places where we'll have to do boardwalks to keep the ADA grades, but overall it made it a very easy trail system in nature to the White River that I think will become one of our most popular trails, regardless of your abilities to get out to the river. So boardwalks in some places, and there's going to be 2 overlooks on the river. We're using an overlook system that's pulled a little bit back from the creek instead of so we don't have to have hand railings, so people won't be too close to the banks to fall into the river. But by having the sort of that low foot rail, if you will, it ensures that wheelchairs can easily see people in wheelchairs can easily see the creek without having a railing in front of them. So we're very excited about that, and I suspect that people will be able to ultimately see wildlife when they go out there. I know when I go to other parks, you'll see eagles, so potential for that to see those overlooks as well. So very excited about that project. To kind of give an overview of where these projects are that are either starting soon or have started. Flowing Well remains closed, but will be opening at the end of this month. Meadowlark is now closed. They're starting the demo and site mobilization. We anticipate that park, along with West Park and Inlo, opening at the end of this year, reopening at the end of this year. West Park, the core area, the original portion, is closed. Inlo is currently partially closed. We have some warranty work that's occurring in the playgrounds. The first of the 3 playgrounds, we had some bubbling in all of them on the safety surfacing. So the manufacturer came in under warranty, is repairing all of those. The first pod has been completely repaired and reopened. The other 2 should be completed within the next week or 2. But then once the project for the splash pad starts, we'll have to close the entire park. So right now it's partially open, but we'll soon be closing likely sometime in mid to late May, and then reopening at the end of the year. And then River Heritage, once that project starts, it'll close probably around June or so, and I don't anticipate that opening until next year. Another thing that's not as directly related, but is kind of related to the Township Impact Program, is we're going to be expanding the White River Greenway. Part of it is going to be the new bridge that you're helping fund over White River that will be connecting our Greenway to Fishers and Connor Prairie. So we're very thankful of that, and that's the blue that's not the entire thing. Fishers is responsible for a portion of it, but that's the trail extension that connects over to Allisonville near the bottom. With the park board, we're working and developing plans currently to expand it from where it currently ends at Tall Timber Run all the way to 146th Street, and we're working with Connor Prairie because a portion of that trail will be on their property that's on this side of the river. And then we were very excited. The park board last Tuesday accepted a donation of 63 acres in the legacy development, so we'll have a new park called Thomas Marcaselli Nature Park. It's a 63-acre park that that's just a hop, skip, and a jump off the White River Greenway, and will provide a nature trail experience right close to the river. So we're very excited about that. We also recently purchased at the end of last year 27 acres Bear Creek Park at Shelbourne and 146th Street at the southwest corner of that, where we just awarded a contract to develop the master plan for that park. So we'll be starting that soon. We'll be getting input from you as well as from the community to envision what this park can be in an area of the community that desperately needs a park. So we're very excited about that. And then a project that I'm just really excited about myself, we had a suggestion that came through the mayor's office about looking at how can we make the tunnels along the Monon Greenway a little bit more attractive and exciting. And we reached out to Carmel High School to see if we could partner with the art students in the high school program to envision murals for each of our 4 tunnels. And we decided to focus first on the city center tunnel right next to the Palladium. So we worked with Jen Bob, who's the art chair for Carmel High School. She worked with the National Art Honor Society for art, the art students to come up, and we had several students come up with concepts. We presented them to the art committee that the city has established, and they helped us select this particular mural that was done by Caroline Hammonds, who's a junior at Carmel High School, and this is her artwork. And it will be enwrapping the entire tunnel. And we wanted to make sure that this had a theme that was very much appropriate for City Center and right next to the Center for the Performing Arts. So very talented students. We actually have volunteers that are working with her